Why have we stopped using X? In this short video, I'm going to explain the issue. For more than 2 years, there has been a community note, a contributor who added a community note to almost all of our posts on X, be it my own post or from the SSGEOS. The community note in question is misleading. It states there is no scientific basis for these earthquake forecasts, which is false. It says peer-reviewed research finds evidence does not support this method, which is false because the methods explained in those peer-reviewed papers do not match SSGEOS methods. It's very important. You cannot compare apples and eggs. Then you have fact checks of users' pseudoscience claims. And then there's a bunch of mainstream articles, mainstream news articles. These are parrot chambers. They share scientific opinion. There is no actual evidence presented in any of those links of articles. And then it says the user's last prediction site claimed to get info from aliens angels. Well, the SSGEOS never had a previous website, and there is nothing, the SSGEOS has nothing to do with aliens or angels. This is a misleading community note. It has been attached to almost all of our posts for the last 2 years, even if it didn't match the post. So we came with counter notes. We were contributors on X, but we have been blocked from writing community notes. No explanation, no notification, no reason. We were simply blocked yesterday or the last 2 days from writing community notes, especially counter notes to counter this misinformation. So let's go over our community notes countering this misleading community note. One counter note says that the 2-year-old copy-paste note is misleading, which is true. Attempting to discredit the SSGEOS. The user, the SSGEOS, did not have any previous website and has nothing to do with aliens or angels. This is true. The SSGEOS was founded in 2022, came up with a website. That's the website that you see today, and there has not been a previous website. This is misleading information, attempting to discredit the SSGEOS. There's no other explanation. Peer-reviewed research, this is important. Peer-reviewed research supports SSGEOS findings. In 2023, 5 Moroccan scientists submitted a paper with proof that planets have at least partial influence on earthquakes. We share this peer-reviewed paper from onsciencedirect.com. There's no doubt about that. The paper is there. If you ask Grok, it will tell you that the evidence or the link is very, very weak. It is not weak. This paper actually states literally in its abstract that there is proof of partial evidence, almost 70% correlation. That is scientifically very significant. You cannot ignore that. Then we have another scientific paper about tidal triggering, where they say that the tidal force has influence on seismic activity. Also significant, it also supports our findings. Then we have conjunction clusters, that what we published on GitHub. Statistical evidence with a data set. Anybody can look it up. Very compelling evidence here. We shared it in this community note. And further 2 more links, statistics on our educational page on X. Again, you can look it up. You can look up the data sets. The evidence is there. The other note that we shared, no cited sources. This is a counter note. Remember, no cited sources in Jazzy's note. This is the contributor responsible for the misleading note. No cited sources in Jazzy's note address SSGI models or temporal earthquake clusters. This is very significant. We look at just the most recent SSGI graph. We see this SSGI graph, the models that we use. We see the temporal clustering of earthquakes. This is very important because stronger earthquakes almost always cluster in time. This is not spatial clustering. This is not about spatial clustering. This is about temporal clustering within about 24 hours that we have multiple stronger earthquakes on various locations on the planet. This is a phenomenon not well explained in seismology. I addressed this before. So this is a very important point in this community note. The methods described by the cited papers, non-clusters, don't match SSGEOS methods about clusters. This is important. You cannot compare apples and eggs. the misleading note claims that there is no scientific evidence, and then they come out with 2 peer-reviewed papers that really don't match our methods. This is important. We always emphasize these clusters, earthquake clusters, the geometry clusters of the planets and the moon. None of these phenomena are explained in those peer-reviewed papers that's supposed to be evidence against the SSGEOS. And also important is that the SSGEOS research is based on observations and peer-reviewed statistical evidence. We have been sharing these counter notes in recent months, and they have been very successful because no community note, misleading community note, has been shown below our posts. It didn't reach the status of helpful because of our counter information. This is very important. Now, yesterday we found out that we have been blocked from adding community notes, counter notes, countering this misinformation. We can no longer defend ourselves with scientific arguments. And this is deliberate. This is not the community note program itself. Someone turned the knob. We can no longer write community notes. And that means that we are defenseless. Whenever we post information on X, it will be community noted with misleading information meant to discredit and ridicule the SSGEOS. And there's nothing we can do about it. And that means that we can no longer use the platform. We are not going to allow this misinformation, this misleading information to be promoted below our posts. We have 500,000 followers on X. That's the SSGEOS account. And I have more than 1 million followers. We are not going to promote this misleading community note. There's no way that we're going to allow that. So the only alternative for us is to stop using X as a platform to share our information. If other platforms are going to follow X example here, that is possible. YouTube can do this. Facebook can do this. They've already announced that they're also going to use a community note system. It could mean the end of our public appearance, our appearance in social media. It isn't, we're not at that point yet, but that is a possibility. This is important information that I wanted to share with you. I wanted to explain why we can no longer use X because of a rigged community note system. We are being excluded from the system without explanation, without notifications, no negative writing impact, no negative rating impact, nothing of that. Someone simply turned the knob.